little high. I have scaled ideas, buried a few, and which one survived. I built brands before algorithms, before funnels had names. Watch people confuse attention with equity, so lame. This is not opinion. Got results and recognition. You are here, you are not browsing. You are paying attention.
It would probably help if we had a microphone. Welcome in, welcome in. It is another Tuesday, and so I am here with you guys to talk about something very cool called the audacity of mediocrity. I mean, it kind of flows, right? It kind of flows. Listen, let's pay some bills around here. Definitely got to do that. Want to remind you that today's live stream is brought to you by Tractionista.com. Get your free audit. You guessed it, at Tractionista.com. That is helmed and founded by Amanda P. Harris, CEO of Foliage.com. And she is a PMP, Six Sigma. She's got all the letters, guys. So when she talks about traction, she means it. It's not trite. It's not trivial. It is the real deal. And like I said, my name is Stephanie D. McKenzie. Hi. And I am here to talk to you about the audacity of mediocrity. And it's really interesting how this topic came to be, because I had no clue what I wanted to talk about. So I asked, AI. And what should I talk about that's in alignment with, the things that I already talk about, the things that matter to me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it gave me a list of topics, and this just happened to be one of them. And I thought, yeah, that can be a thing. So nevertheless, I'm going to get into this. And if you have any comments, make sure you drop them over there. I see we've got a comment in. Awesome. Facebook wants me to tell you to send stars to show your support. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on LinkedIn, if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to drop your questions, your comments, and your concerns, and I'll be more than happy to get back to you throughout the broadcast. So without further ado, let's get into this. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and warn you guys that I have time today. But the interesting thing about the audacity of mediocrity is that it has something it needs to say. And I'm going to hold your pinky finger as I say this, because as much talk as there is about burnout, I've spoken about burnout. I have colleagues that talk about burnout. In this particular instance, it is very possible that you're not burned out. You're just bored. But why does that happen? And how does that tie to the audacity of mediocrity? Well, I'll tell you. Today, we're going to talk about these things. You ready? Okay, why is it not there? Here we go. We're trying graphics today, people. Bear with me. So today we're going to talk about why your self-care needs scrutiny. Doing what you can isn't a flex. And what you can do today if you figure out, you know what, Stephanie, I actually am bored. So like I said, I have time today, so we're going to have a really good time. And I hope something that I say to you today is absolutely meaningful. So without further ado, let's get into this. So, everybody talks about self-care. I believe in self-care. I don't believe all the things that have been labeled self-care are actually self-care in nature. Like, people will often say, oh, I went to get my nails done and that was self-care. Actually, maintenance. Although sometimes I do understand that you can find relaxation in that process. A lot of times it's just maintenance. And what it does is that it creates this situation where you're doing the bare minimum for yourself. But we won't talk about that today. What we will talk about is it's the idea of protecting your peace. And you'll have heard it. People say it. I'm protecting my peace. I'm protecting my peace. And, on the relationship side, I've often said you're going to protect your peace right into complete and utter isolation. No friends, no bae, no nothing, because you're going to protect your peace right into a space where you can no longer deal with people. And don't get me wrong, Sometimes the people are going to people, and we know this. The humans are going to human. And if we don't know that at any other time in our history, we know it right now, right? But also, sometimes in protecting our peace, we're protecting ourselves from discomfort. And that is where the problems come in. And they often come in because of a lack of discernment. Because I have and still serve individuals who identify with people pleasing behaviors, codependent behaviors, I understand implicitly that discernment is a muscle that many of them do not have. Why? Because in order to be a people pleaser, you must become super comfortable in allowing how you feel about a situation to no longer be important. How you feel about this person or this relationship or the way a family member treats you, it has to become deeply unimportant for you to people please appropriately. And so when your whole world is founded upon pleasing other people and receiving external validation, that's why your discernment muscle is very, very, very weak. And when your discernment muscle is weak, sometimes you don't know the difference between a lack of peace and necessary discomfort. I'm just gonna let that settle. I'm just gonna let that settle a little bit, just a little bit. Just let that settle. Because that's why I said for people who are new to this, I'm protecting my peace, I'm protecting my peace. Okay, that's good. But are you also protecting yourself from a level of discomfort that you actually need? And that's really where the audacity of mediocrity begins, because if you're protecting your peace and it is interrupting those moments of discomfort that can take you from here to here and from here to here and from here to here, then at some point you're just going to be at bare minimum in the name of protecting your peace. And that's why we started this section off with, hey, self-care needs scrutiny. Self-care really needs scrutiny. And it's okay if you have an epiphany during this live stream that says, oh Lord, I've been protecting my peace, but I'm also shielding myself from discomfort, necessary discomfort. I didn't say all discomfort. I said necessary discomfort. Oh, my dear founders. And I talk to founders a lot because that's who we serve. We absolutely serve founders and leaders, and we take your positive brand equity and turn it into peak profitability. But oftentimes, especially with those founders who are starting out, that discernment muscle is big weak, because I don't think you understand that there's a level of audacity that has to happen within you for you to say, I do this thing, I'm good at this thing, or I offer this thing and this thing is good. And not only should you get it, you should buy it. You should give me money. You should transact with me. And that's why you'll see a lot of, especially early age founders who are giving things away for free. Now, I also give a lot of things away for free, like my founder coloring book, which you can get, comment coloring book if you want it. But I'm not giving it away because I don't understand that you need to pay me. I'm giving it away because I want you to have it. And so it's really not about the actions. It's really about the motives behind it. Speaking of actions, guys, I hate to say this, but entrepreneurship isn't hard. Oftentimes, you're getting that information from people who are flexing, doing what they can. Now, before you ask, there's a difference between doing what you can versus what can work for you. Now, you have a lot of people who have never owned a business, owning businesses, or trying to own businesses, or launching businesses, or even leading businesses. And we could talk about toxic leadership all day. We won't today. But if y'all want to hear about that, by all means, put toxic leadership in the Dane is having fun in the room with me. You want to come say hi to the people? Nope. Okay. So if you want to hear about toxic leadership, put toxic leadership in the comments and I'll make sure I come back with that, or at least share the video that I've already done about it on YouTube. But we have a lot of founders that are just doing what they can. I've often told people that you're keeping your vision and your mission very palatable. It's very here when it's supposed to be here. Notice how you can't see my hands. But there's like this interesting convergence of doing a new thing and being high achieving and used to achieving. That means that you want to do the part that you know you can win. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. And the problem with that is that it creates a situation where you now believe that entrepreneurship is hard. And then again, I've talked about the people who love to commiserate around, oh, entrepreneurship isn't for the weak. No, it is not for those who don't have clear discernment. It is not for those who are unwilling to say, I need help. It is not for those who don't understand the value of being aptly supported. It has nothing to do with the weak. Okay. And it is not hard. It becomes hard when it becomes about achieving the goals and the outcomes. And if you're a high achieving individual and you're used to doing great and making straight A's and you've got perfect attendance and you're used to getting the attaboy, because remember, you're coming from a space of codependency. You're coming from a space of having that external validation, not internal validation, but external validation as your main marker of you're doing well. So when you're not getting that, right? That's when it becomes hard, because now you're having to validate your mission and your vision. You're having to validate what needs to get done. You're having to validate the fact that you can't do everything. Meanwhile, for those who are doing that, bravo. But for those who aren't, you're suffering, you're hustling, you're sitting here going, oh my God, oh my God. I know 6'7". You're like, oh my God, right, wrong, right, wrong, right, wrong. And a good friend of mine says this quite well. There's no such thing as right and wrong. It's just outcomes and consequences. That's it, that's all. And what I often tell our clients on the back end of that is that you can't get you wrong. One of the key things as a fractional that we do with our clients really revolves around thought leadership. And just recently, before I even hopped on here, having a conversation with one of our clients about their thought leadership strategy, which is playing out in social media beautifully, I might add. And we talk through how to say things and what to say and how to inform your audiences and what direction you want that information to take them in. Like, there's a whole strategy to it. I mean, I understand just, people say, oh, just start messy. Yes, but messy isn't janky. We still want there to be some sort of a plan. So I got a question for you. I get that you can do things, and I get that you can take action. I get that you can go hard. Here's something I want to put out to you. But what if you're just doing all of that in the wrong direction? Have you ever seen a football game where somebody, they get the ball, everybody's cheering, and then all of a sudden they get maybe a little bit disoriented and they go and they score for the other team, but they ran a beautiful run just in the wrong direction. That's what's happening to a lot of founders and leaders, not just in the early stage, or launch stage, but also in growth stage. Because at every stage of the business life cycle, there's new strategies that need to emerge. What worked when you started may not work to help you grow. When you started, you did do everything, and that was fine, and you could hide and protect your peace and all of that, and you didn't need your discernment. But you can't solopreneur. God, I hate that word, but we have to use it. You can't solopreneur your way into growth, and you can't solopreneur your way into a mission and a vision that exceeds your grasp. You will need to be supported in some way. A VA, a digital VA, fractional leader, Girl Friday, intern, apprentice, something. There's going to need to be some more hands on deck, be them artificial intelligence or actual intelligence. There's got to be some help in this. The challenge that I see often is that because people you want the results, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need the money. Abundance is our activism. I say it all the time. But it's like, Sometimes you don't know that you're running really hard in the opposite direction. Sometimes you don't know that. Sometimes you have no idea that you're running really fast in the opposite direction. You're running away from the things you would benefit from running to. Notice my words are getting really deliberate there because it's like there's no right or wrong, just outcomes and consequences. So it's just like a GPS. The GPS is going to give you the fastest way to get to your desired destination, right? But if you zig instead of zag, what is it going to do? It's going to recalibrate. Does that mean you won't get to your destination? No. Does it mean you'll get to your destination later? Probably. No different than missing your exit in Dallas. If you miss your exit in Dallas, good luck. We'll see you tomorrow. And that's what a lot of times what you're seeing is the people who are saying entrepreneurship is hard is that they're moving in the opposite direction. They're still trying to carry everything. And so I had a question for you. I'm supposed to ask you guys. Hold on. Oh, I did. Never mind. I did ask you that. What if you're just going in the opposite direction? What if you're so close to the outcomes that you want, but you're so busy saying, well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, what about this? Well, what about that? What about this? What about that? You're too busy doubting yourself instead of discerning the path. Those two things don't go together. Yes, you can doubt. That's part of your humanity. But at some point, we want to take the actions that we need to take, divinely inspired actions, if you will, actions that are going to move us into the space that we need to be in, that benefits us. The space you need to be in right now in this season, yeah, it's not the same space that you were in even 6 months ago. That's why mediocrity has such audacity because it would love to keep you where you are. It would love to have you entertaining the bare minimum because it has mind screwed you and gaslit you into believing, well, this is all you can do. So this is all that gets done. Meanwhile, if you just took the time to say, you know what? I can't do all of these things. Some of these things I don't want to do. Some of these things I can do, but I have no desire to do. And be okay with that. High agency and oftentimes high achievement say, do it and be great at it. Reality says, do the parts that you do well and delegate. Whatever that means. We live in the digital age. Delegation can take on many forms. But I started this conversation with you all saying you're not burned out, you're bored. You're bored because you're doing all of this stuff. Every Canva logo, every image, every video, every class, every download, you're using AI, but not efficiently and effectively. And I know because when I read your stuff, I see the keywords that AI loves to use. And there's nothing wrong with it except that it makes you sound like everybody else. Now, over in Founder Mind, I'm Founder Folks, which is our community, Founder FOLX. We have in our featured section, we have some things that help you teach AI not to do that. So you can sound more like you, because that's ultimately the goal. The copywriter that you create in your model, but we want it to sound more like you. We don't want it to sound like you just dropped some words into this platform and it spit out something. You were like, hey. But nevertheless. So what if you're listening to me and you're like, burnout versus bored? Stephanie. What to do if you're bored today? Well, one of the first things you can do before we get into that is to subscribe to this channel if you're watching on YouTube and at least drop a meaningful comment. Don't drop a trolly comment. That's not going to do anything but get you blocked. But drop a meaningful comment if this is, serving you and supporting you in any way. And of course, you're always welcome to see the link in my bio if you'd like to sit down, have a strategy call, have a connection call, and just chat about where you are and where you would like to be. No harm, no foul, no charge. All right. So, what to do if you're bored today? All right. So, the first thing I'm going to say to you is to stop and take inventory. If you say, you know what, I am bored, I'm tired of doing this, I'm tired of doing all of this, you're not burned out, you're bored. You're doing too much and not enough. And you're just like, ugh. Stop and take inventory. Stop and take inventory of the things you're doing. Stop and take inventory of the things that, if you knew how to do it, those things would get done. So one of the things people say to me often is that, you know what, I don't know anything about marketing. Okay. So who's helping you with that? Chat GPT. Okay, we'll take it for now. But at some point, you're going to need a warm body. Shocking, right? Be it a college student, be it an apprentice, be it an intern, be it a fractional, you're going to need a warm body. Like, yeah, that's going to need to happen. But I hear that all the time from business owners, and I'm like, hey, founder, entrepreneur, leader, how exactly do you think you're going to generate revenue? And social impact, just a side note, you're not immune to this. If you don't have people that are working on your comms and your brand equity and all of that goodness, and they're not if you're not being aptly marketed, how does that help your shareholders and stakeholders and funders and donors and the community at large find value in you? But that's a different matter. We can talk about that right now. Stop and take inventory. The next thing I want you to do is answer this question. And I think I said that in the inventory as well. What would you do if you knew how? What would you do if you knew how? Oh, I would grow my social media to this many people. Okay. I would launch an event series. Okay. Oh, I would work on a collaboration and go broke with the question, right? Your inventory might be a little, but go broke when you answer this question. What would you do if you knew how? That's really important. And hey, it's okay if you don't know how. Let me just say that for the person that feels like they have to know everything. By the way, that's a trauma response. Um, you can't know everything. You can know a lot of things. You can't know everything. And your incessant need to know is often steeped in, putting on my coaching hat, is often steeped in a trauma response to being blindsided early in your development. That was what happened for me. Now, there are other things that can precipitate that. But for me, when I had a ravenous need to know, like I just got to know, I got to know, I got to know, I got to know. It was because early in my life, as a preteen, as a teen, I was blindsided by a few things. And when you're blindsided by things and you lack the capabilities to cope appropriately, they begin to form your reality. That's a lot. That was deep. Did that help somebody? Let me know. The last thing, and this is important, and I want you to do this today. I want you to think about, because honestly, if you're doing all the things, there's little room for you to be challenged. Because again, you're keeping everything here. You know, this is the mediocrity. That's why it's got audacity, because it's trying to keep you here when you're supposed to be here. And you're not challenging yourself because you're too busy trying to juggle all the things. So it's like if you were juggling 4 balls, the idea of challenging yourself to juggle 5 might be a little much, because how are you supposed to juggle all 5 when you've already got 4 in the air and you're just like, ah! You can't challenge yourself because you're too busy being bogged down. You can't challenge yourself because you're too busy being challenged. See how that works? You're being challenged by processes. You're being challenged by a lack of systems. You're being challenged by needing to be the graphic designer, the operations manager, the HR person, and dare I say, even your spokesperson. You're being challenged by that. So it's very difficult for you to challenge yourself. Does that make sense? So I'm going to ask you to push all of that to the side. And I want you to ask, how can you challenge yourself today? Doesn't have to be a business challenge. How can you do more than what you think you can do? How do you do it? Hey, Ricky Getwood Jr. Make sure you check him out. He's a trainer, life coach, massage therapist, and a percussionist. And all of those things go together. They're all about finding the rhythm in your life. So I love that. You got rhythm in your body, you got rhythm with the beat, you got rhythm with massage. He's like, you should call yourself like the rhythmisk or the rhythmic something. Anyway, stop it. You didn't ask me for that. Let me shut up. So that being said, how can you challenge yourself today? How can you go beyond your comfort zone? Seriously. And that could be something as simple as, I can do this all day. But how can you, it could be as simple as, you know what, I'm going to get on the treadmill for 20 minutes. Okay, when you get to 20 minutes, go for 25. You ever seen that clip from that movie where they're like, one more, one more, one more, one more? I can't remember what they're doing. I think they're crawling. I think they're doing a crawl run or something like that on a football field. Oh my God. I mean, I do what I do, Ricky. I do what I do. Um, and they're like, oh yeah, you're just gonna do 10 or whatever it is. And then as they get to, oh, you just go to this line. And then as they get to that line, one more. As you get to the line, one more. As you get to the line, one more. So how can you challenge yourself today to reinforce the reality that you can be challenged, that you can get away from the audacity of mediocrity and just become audacious in the way that you're doing the work, your work in the world? So this is I'm going to say the Ricky thing. This is reprogramming. It has to happen, people. It absolutely has to happen. Absolutely has to happen. So I want to challenge you to challenge yourself today. It doesn't have to be a business challenge. But if your business goal today is $3,000, take the 3,500, report back. Or if it's 100, take it at 150, take it at 200. Start to reinforce the reality that you can be challenged, that you can push beyond what you can hold in your hands. Because that's going to begin to program your cells and your brain and everything that, you know what, I can be challenged. I can do things. I can make this work. One more, right? One more. Last time, yeah. And you know what? Crazy. The fun fact about me: at one point, I taught senior fitness and I taught TRX. Right? I'm a qualified instructor for TRX, and I'm a horrible counter. I'm a horrible counter. So my students would be like, "You said 10. We did 15. Okay, good. It's good for you. Let that bless your life." I'm a horrible, even for myself. I'm like, oh, we're doing 20. I probably end up doing 40. I'm a horrible counter, y'all. I'm horrible. But it's good for you. So go, dig in, do it. It's great. But listen, so like I said, what did I say we're going to talk about today? Let's see. Did I cover everything? Let's see. Self-care needs scrutiny. We talked about that. Doing what you can isn't a flex because it's going to keep you doing just enough of what you can when there's more that you can do that would actually work for you. And I also talked about what to do if you are bored today. And the biggest part of that is the takeaway of challenging yourself. I'm going to do it too. I'm going to do it too. I don't know what my challenge is going to be today, but I'm going to do it too. Like, just challenges. It doesn't have to be a business challenge. If you want to be a business challenge, okay, great. Physical challenge. Hey, if you say you're going to meditate, meditation is awesome. Diaphragmatic breathing brings down your cortisol levels, bring your body into closer, better word, Stephanie, closer to homeostasis. Your body always craves homeostasis. It always wants balance. But simply you fight against your body, but that is not this live, okay? But if you're a founder and you're not taking care of yourself, if you're a leader that doesn't take care of yourself, that eventually impacts the missions and the visions that you are connected to. So there is value in what I'm saying, and it always comes up. And so if it comes up, it's going to come out right here. But like I said, part of how we get into this mediocre space oftentimes is through the reality of protecting our peace. And unfortunately, if your discernment muscle is weak, you will protect your peace and push away from the discomfort that's going to allow you to grow, business growth and personal growth. It is not okay to protect your peace to the point of consummate comfort. That's not okay. And so sometimes we're pushing away that discomfort, but we need it. And discernment will tell you if you need it or if you need to push it away. It can't automatically be, oh, discomfort. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, they said something that triggered me. If my good friend Shara Prophet was here, she'd tell you about the subconscious mind and how triggers are data. If my students from Gift of Triggers were here, they would tell you that I always say, trace the trigger to the truth. And so being in that space, right? A lot of times you're missing out on the opportunities that can take you from here to here, from here to here to here to here, because it is uncomfortable. And you're protecting your peace. Oh my God, you're protecting your peace. Listen. Hey, Sideria. Make sure you check out Sideria. She is helping you reset your nervous system, and she is an inner revivalist strategist, and you need that. You need the inner revival. This is what we're talking about, an inner revival. So that you will stop being afraid or apprehensive about being uncomfortable, because 'tis the season for discomfort. It definitely is. It definitely is, guys. And so discomfort, as I was saying, is where personal and business growth reside. I'm not saying, right? I'm not saying, oh my goodness, if you're just completely uncomfortable every day, like, oh, that's great, awesome. No, I'm saying that there should be pockets. There are pockets of discomfort. There are moments of discomfort. Like when I talk about relationships, yes, there'll be moments when you guys are not jiving, but if y'all are not jiving most of the time, that relationship doesn't work. Oh, we love each other. We want to make it work. A relationship you have to make work doesn't actually work. Relationships require effort, not work. And the effort will be effortless when you're efforting for the right person. Wow, there's so many lessons in this. Can you stay focused, Stephanie? No, because there's so much to say about this. Because the way this mediocrity shows up, once it shows up, it can permeate your entire life. Not just your business, your love life, your friends, who you choose, who you give access to, who you collaborate with. We got to get it. We got to get it. And we have to begin, I hate to say we have to as a coach, it's to our benefit, to see the value of discomfort on a case-by-case basis. That part. It's important that we do that, but the only way we do that is by building the muscles of discernment that often have been damaged through years, decades, okay? Years and decades of codependent and people-pleasing behavior. That's just the reality. If my good friend Honey Henderson Owens was here, she would tell you that. She's a licensed clinical social worker, specializing in complex, not just PTSD, but complex PTSD. I'm not just talking. I want you to take this information and take it into your lives. Like I said, you're not burned out, you're bored. And you're bored because you're protecting your peace to the point of consummate comfort. You're so comfortable, you can't grow. So now you're just doing what you can. Wondering where the results are. Because sometimes it used to work so well before it didn't work well in this season. Oh my God. Didn't work well in this season. So take that inventory that we talked about. Last thing I'm going to say, and if you have questions or comments, please feel free to drop that. If you want to learn more about how we turn positive brand equity into peak profitability, comment Steph. If you want to learn more about Founder Mind, comment Founder. And always, there's a link in my bio somewhere. Start here and get everything. Like we've got downloads, we've got communities, we've got all kinds of stuff, because I really want to see you win at every stage. I want to see you win. But ultimately, self-care is valuable, and I'm not going to say it's not. But self-care requires self-awareness, and in the words of Charity McDonald over on LinkedIn, self-leadership. It can't always be about, I'm getting my nails done, I'm getting my hair done. It can't always be an act. At its core, true self care is a lifestyle. It is a litany of decisions that form the basis of your reality, if you allow it to. Oh, that felt like a lot. Was that a lot, y'all? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling, y'all? Was that a lot? Tell me if it was a lot. Any questions, comments, concerns? Make sure you get the coloring book. It is so much fun. It is so much fun. It talks about the 8 mistakes founders make daily. Daily. Absolutely. And this weekend, I forgot to say, not this weekend, next weekend, we're doing a free preview of Founder Mind. If you're interested in joining our community it's a high level membership for accountability. Gosh, there's so much that goes on in there, accountability and amazing connections, and it's really a safe space. From what I hear, then I'm really pleased to be a part of it. Then by all means, just comment what you want, because I'm going to make sure you get exactly what you want, so you can get what you need, so you can move this needle, so you can do the things that you've always said you wanted to do. Because I hate to break it to you, this is not a later season. This is a right now season. And some of y'all have been doing later since 2020. Like, can we do it now? Now, do it now. There is no such thing as later. Anyway, well, I don't have anything. I love a good endorsement. Yes. What she said. I am super, super duper privileged and honored to serve all of our clients on the fractional side as their chief marketing officer, chief brand officer, chief growth officer. On the Founder Mind side, which is more communal in nature, but it's more like a group coaching program on steroids. It's like safe space and coaching and business advising had a baby, and it's called Founder Mind. And and then our members in our founder folks community, like, we have all of the things. And the reason why we have all of the things is because I want to make sure that wherever you are, whatever you need, you can get it. You can get it. I don't have a 30-step, cookie cutter program to 8-figure months, but I guarantee you that if you come into my orbit in any shape, form, or fashion, I will help you get to your best level in this season. And then the seasons change, and we'll get to your best level in that season. I love to see you win. What can I say? I love it. Anyway, that does it for me, guys. I guess I'll be back Thursday with something interesting. Not sure what I'm going to talk about, but if this was meaningful to you, put thank you in the comments. And if you need anything, by all means, check out the link in my bio or check out the description below. My name is Stephanie D. McKenzie, award-winning marketer, TEDx speaker, Amazon best-selling author, and my favorite, a fractional brand and marketing leader who is excited about supporting founders and leaders to turn their positive brand equity, heavy on the positive, into peak profitability on a daily basis. Maybe I'm your founder godmother. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Hope to see you on a call or on the next video. Have a good day. Bye.
Have you been on a weight loss journey and the scale just isn't giving you the results you hoped for? Well, meet Thinner, an FDA-registered, all-natural, homeopathic approach that addresses the root causes of how to lose weight and keep it off, especially if hormones are an issue. If you're tired of all of the guesswork and doing it alone, scan the QR code for more info, and let's get you started today.